with Coach Goodale and myself. We are brought to you by Malka and FanCred. Thank you guys. And just a reminder with this podcast and this platform, we're encouraging all our people and all our fans and really anyone that's interested, has a question or just wants to come on and say hello, to call in. And a reminder that you can come on and hang with us face to face by watching the show, like maybe you're doing now on YouTube and different platforms or FanCred app, or you could go on the FanCred app, download it on your phone, press the green fan line button, and you could join us live and ask us those questions or say your comments. Maybe they're Rutgers comments, maybe they're wrestling comments, maybe they're different Rutgers sports comments in general. We're ready for all types, up and down questions, whatever they are. But we're excited to be back here and continue doing this thing. Coach Goodale just had a good little Father's Day trip,
little getaway,
I guess. Yeah, you don't take many vacations. I feel like throughout the years I've been around you, I don't remember you getting away much. It's like you have like high anxiety about what's going on at home. I feel like you gotta be in control. So how was that?
That was good, man. It was fun. I was telling you offline, I've never gone north for a vacation, and it's weird because our vacations are usually Outer Banks, some type of island right after wrestling season, maybe for a week. So for us to go north, I never really got into lake life, but it was fresh water up in the mountains, probably a little bit about an hour west of Cornell. And I actually grew up, like, my dad's from Cortland, New York. It's where he met my mom. So I would always go to Cortland, but we never really experienced like a lake or anything. So the Carnies own a lake up there. Went up there with a couple families and just had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Fresh water, crisp, cool, and just a bunch of toys. I can't just sit still. So
yeah,
for us, it was a bunch of toys and jet skis, water skis, a little boat action, some tubing, and just good to be away with a family.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now about that pass. Zach had a pass from, like, what was that, the second or third floor of a balcony?
Third floor, yeah.
It was like a third floor balcony, probably like a 50-yard pass, you'd say?
Yeah. And he hit the pass, and I didn't realize he was filming it. So he threw it himself, turned around and filmed it himself, and Johnny O made
a jumping catch off a dock into the water, full extension. That was awesome.
So it was fun, man. How's your week been? I can't believe we've been doing this for 12 weeks. It's been 3 months.
Cool. It is. My week's been good. Just gearing up for this July 25th match now. That's where most of my focus has been shifted to. Just kind of looking at how Pletcher's been wrestling recently, just watching a couple of his matches and just prepping myself, getting my body ready, getting my weight ready. I'm in striking distance already, so just like at this point, it's just like, let's get ready to wrestle. Let's tune up the wrestling skills we're going to need for this match, focus on the areas, maybe the scrambles that the match is going to take me to. And that's kind of the thoughts that I've been having. But it was my birthday yesterday, so I got to enjoy myself a little bit. I had a busy day just with different training and therapy sessions, just normal routine. But then my parents got barbecued for me last night, so I got to hang out a little bit right on the porch of Belmar, looking out on the water next to DJ. So that was nice, just kind of relaxing, shutting it down as well. Gotta have a good balance of both.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you with that. I want to get to DJs in a second, but how much are you put into watching film on your opponents? Like, that's pretty good question for our fans. I'm sure they'd want to know, like, how much are you going to put into, or how much did you put in when you were in college? How much do you put in now for someone like Pletcher? And obviously you wrestled him 3 times when he was a little younger. Would you look at those matches, or are you looking at what he did this past year?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, those matches don't really mean much to me right now, just because I was 141. I was a totally different wrestler. Not that, like, I had a lot of the same skills, but I just think I'm way better. I think he's way better than he was at that time. He was a freshman. Might have been a true freshman. I kind of forget, but I just think it's going to be a different Luke Pletcher. It's going to be a different Anthony Ashnault. So I'm more looking at his last Big Ten performance matches versus Nick Lee, different performances throughout the year at 141. But I'm really looking more at his tendencies than what's happening in the matches. Just like which arms he's reaching with, which legs is he stepping with, because those things, even over time, over years, like those are the harder things to change. You could maybe change a move up, but it's like it's hard to get rid of that twitch that you hit with your hips when someone fakes on you or something little like that. So I'm looking for the little details like that. This is probably the most I've ever honestly looked into it because I'm so excited for the event. It's like 3 hammer matches. So I've never really looked into matches a month before and studied one guy. I can be honest about that. I've never done something like this, but it's exciting. I feel like I want to have like a MMA type schedule if it's possible. Like, let's do these events every couple months and get athletes wrestling, and like that would be cool. This is like an exciting time for me. I'm gearing up. I got 20 Eat Clean Bros delivered to my house, ready to like little meal prep, easy to eat, get my weight down. Then I got like my workout schedule planned just for me, and it's just like it's pretty cool. It's exciting. It's definitely really motivating for the current times we're in this world with COVID going on.
Sure. Now, speaking of COVID, has there been any talk? I know Texas is getting hit pretty hard, which would lead me into really an update for our fans. I could give in a little bit about return to practice for the Rutgers wrestlers. But for you, has there been any talk? Because we're getting ready to book our flights to Texas. You think they'll keep it there, or is there any talk of moving it just because of the spike down there? Or
yeah,
right now,
I was talking to one of the Flow guys, Mike Mal, yesterday, and just asking him what the event's looking like, shaping up like, and he didn't talk about anything that was going to get canceled, but he did say absolutely nobody's going to be spectating. Just wrestlers and coaches and everyone that needs to be there, referees or a scores person, even limiting people that have to be on cameras, just trying to put cameras on stands kind of thing. But my friends they're saying the same thing. They want to book their flights. They want to come down. So hopefully, I know Texas has a rise in numbers right now, but hopefully everything clears up and they don't really change the rules that are set right now with the government in Texas, so that we could go have this event. And I know a lot of my friends and some family are looking forward to maybe taking that trip, getting a little flight, even if they can't go watch the match, just kind of hanging out in Austin, Texas, and then hanging out afterwards and enjoying ourselves a little bit.
You know, it's crazy you say that because now I'm sitting here thinking, me and Donnie are on the phone last night. Like, should we book our tickets? Or are they going to keep us quarantined for 2 weeks afterwards? Because when we get back, there's a good chance August 1st, winter sports will be allowed in the RAC. But we'll have testing leading, not the RAC, excuse me, the APC, but or wherever the guys train and wherever winter sports train. Basketball's already in. So if that's our plan for August 1st, do we have to be quarantined afterwards? So we were talking about it. Now that I think about it, I know Pollard's going down with you. And then if it's me or Donnie, one of us is going to be sitting outside and probably won't let both of us in. So we got to kind of figure that out pretty quickly. But I'm going to be on a call today with Dr. Bouchard, see what the protocol is. But
it might be smartest for you as the head coach to stay back, because I think there is going to be a 14-day quarantine when we get back. I mean, like, not that they're going to probably have somebody watching you every step you take out your house.
You got to be smart. Yeah.
But you're a public figure, so like you got to lead by example. And I mean, if you want to be ready to go in August 1st, you got to stay back home.
Yeah. So it's go ahead.
No. I got a question about in my comments. Anthony, how strict will the weigh-ins be in Austin? It's 11 o'clock weigh-in and then a 7 p.m. match, and that wasn't my agreement. But when I was wrestling Oliver, he was like just complaining a little bit about the weigh-in, that he wanted a big gap. And then when it got changed over to wrestling Luke Pletcher, since the weight was low for me, I was like, well, it's the same weigh-in, right? And they were like, yep. So I was like, cool. So 11 o'clock weigh-in, wrestle at 7 p.m., 146 pounds.
I don't understand how you get the question. I don't in this chat here.
I think the producer just punches the question through maybe to whoever they're targeted at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So, just an update on that as far as getting in. And I'm not going to get into Coach Shiano's business. It's not fair for me to do that. But being on some of these calls with all the coaches, it's incredible what has to go in. And Rutgers does such a good job of making sure our guys are safe and they're tested twice before they're even allowed to start working out. So there's a test, and 48 hours later there's another test, and it's not the one where you stick up your nose. It's a spit test, so that's kind of cool. And then if they're cleared, but just listening to coach talk, he does such a good job. Like if a kid, they did have 2 kids test positive. If you were around that kid, he would put you in quarantine no matter what. Hey, coach, but I'm not sick, but it doesn't matter. So he's being super, super smart. And I just think we have a responsibility as coaches, even though I test negative, I don't have it, but I was working out with that guy, so we're going to ask our guys come July 15th, if we know we're getting tested the 24th, July 15th, quarantine for 9 days, do nothing, stay home, don't go lift, don't go to a gym, don't go work out. Hard thing to do, right? Because we're getting into it right now.
And you're asking 18 to 22-year-old kids. A lot of our guys come down from exit
come down the shore,
exit 105 down. Yeah, so it's like it's going to be tough for them.
That's going to be hard, but we got to do it. And the goal is again, if the date for us to get tested, this is just an example, July 24th. I want them all to be negative. You don't have it. Let's get, 2 days later, we don't have it. Let's get in there and start training. So just a little bit of info really for our fans, just what goes into it. It's not just you get tested. All right, good to go that day. No, there's a whole week before where they're making sure everyone's safe. And man, Rutgers does such a good job. And and there's so much more. Like you got to talk to them about their girlfriends, like you said, going down to the beach. It's just different. So it's frustrating to hear how hard it is, but at the same time, I understand it.
Yeah, I get it, and everyone's doing the same thing or dealing with it. I think Rutgers has an advantage, if anything, just with all the resources we have. Are they, since like Rutgers came out with tests, are they using their own tests to test these athletes?
I believe so. They're just, and you could send them. But one of the things with Doc is when you send, let's say you take 200, you tested 200 athletes that are on campus, and you send them to the lab, they don't come back 200 at a time. You might get a pocket of 20, and then 30, then 50, then 100. You know what I mean? So it's like, even though me and you sat side by side, spit in the tube, and they went out together, they don't necessarily come back together. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
how the lab works. But yeah, they're using our testing, and you could like send the test to Texas, right? One of our basketball players is from Texas. You could send it down there, and then on that end, there's some guys where their parents right now don't feel comfortable sending them back. So some kids are deciding not to come back. So which is fine by Coach Peichel and Coach Jano, and it's all voluntary. But it's interesting. It's just interesting that what goes into it. And us, Ant, right? We're thinking, let's meet at this place, let's train, let's wrestle, let's work out, let's just go. And I think we'll have a whole different look at it when we start heading back to the APC.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting layout for everybody. But it's exciting to have some motion in that direction, at least, from having 2 to 3 months in quarantine type situation and locked up feeling, we need to start at least having regulations moving towards opening up. Not that we need to jump right back into normalcy, but at least a direction towards that, because I feel like people are just ready to get out. They're making they're just making the decision on their own to go around the government and do it anyway. So it's like we have to start making different regulations to provide for people to maybe tend to their businesses or whatever it may be.
Let me ask you this. So now it brings me to my DJ's question. That place was absolutely bumping this past weekend, and you could see the cameras were down the Jersey Shore. It was packed like nothing's going on. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. Like for me, do you get mad at that? Like, guys, what are we doing here?
I went one night, and I was in my head, I was happy that I was there, because I was like saying to myself, it's like, there's no way, like there's no masks, like there's no nothing, like everything's just so open. It was just like, in my head, I was like, something's going to happen here. In my head, I was thinking that. So I was like, all right, at least I'm happy I came, because I don't think it's going to be here next weekend. But I was thinking the same thing you're thinking. But I think they did get in a little bit of trouble. We were there yesterday. We just walked by. My parents' condo is like right next door to there. So we walked by, and it looks like they definitely took a couple steps backwards as a business, just trying to follow rules a little bit more closely. It looks like So I don't know what's going to happen. You know, they're not the only one down here. You know, Jenks and Martell's, I heard, doing the same thing. I heard Barre and different kind of places were doing the same exact thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I was thinking maybe they just go one by one and knock the guys off a little bit. But
yeah, it's crazy that owner, man, he just been like, listen, let's rally right now. I'm sure businesses are getting crushed. So
yeah,
he was probably just like, this is an opportunity right here. But
yeah,
whatever. You're right. Let's encourage these fans to call in. Let's encourage them to ask some questions. Let's get going. There's been a ton of go ahead. You got one?
I got one in my comments. Anthony, what are you most focused on leading into this match? Is this the longest you've gone between competitive, serious matches? I'm looking forward just to the opportunity to go compete on a mega platform right now for wrestling in the wrestling world. And also the competitor, Luke Pletcher. Even though I wrestled him in college a couple times, I think he's a totally different competitor. Someone, for me, short, stocky guy. I'm a little tall, lanky for my weight. Like, I'm excited to go prove that I could go score a lot of points and be exciting from the start to the end of the match. And I'm just looking forward to being able to have a platform to showcase my talents. And win or lose, I'm just going out there to put on a performance. You know, this is a performance of 3 mega matches. All 3 matchups, we're all looking to put on a performance for the fans, for people who have missed wrestling, and just put up points on the board and have a good time out there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Not really the longest I've been in between matches. I wrestled at Pan Am's in March, and I've had surgeries where I've been out for almost whole years. So,
what do you? So I always thought Pletcher was just a tough matchup because he's so darn low to the ground and he's hard to get to, and you got to move him a lot, and he has gotten better. And then I saw Nick Lee wrestle him in the dual meet. And I'm like, wow, this is a bad matchup. I'm thinking to myself, Ashnall's a bad matchup for Pletcher because of what Nick Lee did. And then he turned it around in the Big Tens. So I watched both of those matches. And does that him being so low, is it frustrating? Does that cause problems, or is it just about your motion, you getting your attacks, and doesn't matter where you are? He's pretty flexible too.
It definitely
he's super flexible.
Yeah, it definitely causes problems, and he's super flexible. But freestyle, the flexibility is great, but you could still get 1 point for taking him out of bounds while he's on a single. So I mean, I know a lot of the positions you're talking about when he made that jump from Nick Lee in the season to finals, but I still think in that Big Ten finals match, Nick Lee was taking it to him. He was on his legs. He got taken down once, but Luke Pletcher was kind of not controlling the center. I just saw, even in Luke Pletcher's win versus Nick Lee, I just saw a lot of openings that I feel like I could take advantage of. And I don't want to exploit that. Maybe Luke Pletcher's watching our podcast because it's so popular right now. But I definitely respect him. And for that, when an athlete can make jumps from losing to a guy to beating him in one season like that, it's like you got to respect them. It's like, maybe he's not the better wrestler in their match, but he won the match. He's able to make adjustments. He's a gamer. He turns it on when it's time to go. And even like seeing his emotions after that match in the Big Ten finals, like he's into it, man. He loves this. He loves what he does. He definitely wrestles, trains hard, and does the right things, it seems like. So I want to wrestle guys like that because that's how I wrestle and compete. So it's game on, but I'm definitely confident in it.
Well, good, man. Yeah, that's an awesome lineup. I just hope it goes off. I hope it goes off really bad because we need it. We need it. And I think there's one this weekend, correct?
Yeah.
I think they have one coming up Saturday.
Yeah, I know the headliner is Jason Nolf versus Jordan Oliver. You got Pat Downey wrestling a Greco guy. I think Ben Provisor, maybe, or
Rao, isn't it? Rao?
Rao. Sorry, Rao. So that should be a good event too.
Good, man. Well, we got Billy's backstage, so we can bring him in. He'll be our first guest. Guys, call in. Come online with us, share the stage here a little bit, ask some questions. The more you ask, the more we're going to get into the transfer portal here.
Hey,
there's our dog.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
What's up,
little
man?
intro. Here's Billy Ashnault, my big brother, also a wrestler for Coach Goodale back in the day. I don't even remember. What years were you wrestling for Rutgers?
I graduated 2012.
Okay.
So it's 3 years.
Went to
Started at Lock Haven.
Yeah.
Started at the Haven. Goodale recruited me to the Haven. Then everything went good 2 years there. We had like a lot of Jersey guys out there. And then I mean, circled back to Rutgers, man, and that's kind of how I got the ball rolling. And circled back now, we're I don't know, 8 years later.
Yeah.
Do you know that story, Anthony? How
Not
you sent
clearly.
Billy to Lock Haven?
Not clearly.
So we're out at the class, South Plainfield and Jackson High School are at the best tournament in the country, dual meet tournament out in Minnesota. Clash ends, they move me somehow to first class. And all my guys at Jackson were laughing. I got moved up. They're like, would you like to move up? I'm like, absolutely, I'll move up to first class. Sure enough, I get put right next to your mom. She's also in first class. I said, what's Billy doing? Blah, blah, blah. Before we even landed, they were on the phone with Rocky Bonomo. And that's where Billy was going to end up going. And I was still at Jackson. So then I got the job at Rutgers, and he came back. Kind of the rest is history. But that's the story, how he made it to the Haven.
Yeah. When did you get the head coaching job? What year, Goody?
2008, 7-8 season. 2008, right?
Yeah.
So you came back, Billy. It must have been 2010.
Yeah, 2010. I had to stay I remember talking to you and then Leo. I was like, transferring, and they're like, no, you got to take 3 classes. So it was like 9 credits to be eligible to wrestle transfer. And so I had to stay at Lock Haven. I'm leaving, stay there that summer, take 3 classes, and come back to wrestle.
That was good. And you were in right away. Did you? I think you, and correct me if I'm wrong, because my head's. You wrestled, redshirted, wrestled. How did that work?
Oh, we lost them here.
Did we?
Yep,
There was one year I know there was one year I think he redshirted for us, and then he was back. He wrestled, redshirted, and then back.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, we're losing your reception a little bit. Yeah, but
man.
we can still hear you good, so it's all good. Yeah. So now currently, yeah.
You got me? All right,
Yeah. So currently, your coach, for our viewers that don't know our stories as well, you're coaching Christian Brothers Academy right now. High school, private school, but they wrestle public or the state tournament, NJSI state tournament. Going into your third year right now. How is that process going for you? And how was that transition going from being a college athlete to director of operations, working on a college staff now to running a high school staff?
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody it's pretty much what I went through at Rutgers, everything I learned being around all those guys, the athletes, coaches, the support system. It kind of take everything I learned there, and nothing really changed from what I'm doing at CBA. Wrestling-wise to kind of what we did at Rutgers, obviously specifically Rutgers just because that's where I was a fan. That's my family, man. That's where I was part of for years. So I took out a lot of stuff, obviously, from Goody and everyone else, and kind of translated right over to CBA, wrestling specific. I know when you come in the room, man, like running practice and things like that, I kind of take things from Rutgers and use them at CBA and kind of treat the room like a college room. I know it's a little different. I get it. The kids are younger, not as mature, but I definitely try. The biggest thing is treat that place, man, with respect and a college room, and make these guys, no matter if they're JV or varsity, there's an expectation there, man, to work hard, show up on time, and everything kind of will work out for itself for them. Because I mean, CBA, as everyone knows, academically is top of the line. I mean, you make it through CBA, you're going to get into some great schools and really set yourself up. I get it, private, public, it's a big deal. And some people, man, with New Jersey, some people hate private schools, and I don't really get involved in that. I just kind of do my thing, take it day by day, and hopefully these kids friggin' buy in and just want to be great, but outside of winning or losing, just really look back and be like, yeah, I learned something, one thing from those 4 years at CBA that I could take to the rest of their life.
This isn't a recruiting plug for CBA just because Billy's on. Obviously, we're super, super tight, but I can't imagine because I think that's how we got to be so good at Jackson. It was like a college room, and I just can't imagine all those guys you have on your staff bringing in the way you're running a practice. How good those guys can get at CBA that's just such an advantage. Just a guy like you who has gone through it, just recently left us to go there, and clearly that thing's going to blow up, right? CBA is going to blow up. Is is that like a goal? Like, I want to chase Blair Academy. For me, that was it at Jackson. I'm chasing Blair Academy. I loved wrestling Southern. That was huge down here, but I was chasing Blair Academy. That's, and I know you're not there yet, and I know pretty soon it's going to get there, but is that kind of your outlook on it, or is it just one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time? Let's just get better.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal, like right now, is just to build it up. Like I've been going into year 3 now. There's
a little bit harder.
Expectation there.
A little bit harder.
Doing everything that we're doing. These guys are, and they're hungry. The kids too. But it's also like I'm trying to wrestle the best teams. I wrestle whoever. I'm trying to wrestle a single duel on a Friday night in New Jersey and bring a couple hundred people to CBA. That's a big deal. Back when Jackson, South Plainfield, there was 1,000, 2,000 people. A couple hundred at CBA is a big deal. So I'm trying to get these teams to kind of buy in around the state. Like, come on, man, I'm going to wrestle a Friday night duel. And they're like, we got gates open. And I don't beg. I don't really beg them. I mean, I want them to wrestle, and they're like, "Nah, we'll do a try." All right, move on to the next. Right now, but I know we're getting good and we're building it. So the ultimate goal is really just get that excitement back and build it from within at CBA. That's what I want to do, and get these guys to be like, "Yeah, we're wrestling this big duel against, I don't know, Brick Memorial Friday night, a month into the season." That's how you build something up, I think. But outside of that, it's just ultimate goal. I would say get these guys to really believe that they can place in the state tournament. It's not so much winning districts, winning regions. Obviously want to be state champions, but it's building up to place in the states. And these guys, honestly, man, their goals going into this upcoming season are like team wise. They want to make it to, it used to be the Vertaco Center. Now I think it's back at Rutgers. They want to make it there as a team wise. So that's pretty cool that I didn't really implement that into them, but as a team, they want to do that stuff already. So there's not one ultimate goal. It's a lot of things, but obviously compete at a high level, man, make it to the states and place as a freshman. It's not so much as a junior. It's got these guys that are high level recruits in high school coming and placing.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we had a couple guys on the team this year that were pretty close to placing. Guy in the round of 12, guy in the round of 16, I think. Couple other guys at the state tournament. Looking ahead to next year, hopefully we get this everything goes smooth with scheduling and high school sports happen and everything goes on. Do you got any freshmen looking up, like key freshmen to look out for coming in, or what are some of the other athletes coming back that you want to highlight a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the guys that made it to the state tournament last year, 3 freshmen and 1 junior, so they're all coming back and they're hungry. They're kind of training through this quarantine, not with me, on their own. And the guys that want to get good are finding a way to work their butt off and get to that next level. It's tough though, man. You can't really be with these guys and watch them jump levels now. You got to kind of trust that they're doing it, but there's so many ways around the state that they can get that opportunity to get better. Freshmen now that we've finished 8th grade, school year is over. I mean, there's freshmen you could say that are coming in to CBA for sure. I got like probably 6 or 7 freshmen coming in. I would say the biggest one that's confirmed coming is Alex Nini. So he's coming in. He's a lightweight. He should make an immediate impact. And then there's 5 or 6 other good kids, man, good families that they're all coming in. I'm still talking to a few kids that kind of want to come, but kids that want to come to CBA, for me, it's, here's the process. You fill out the application, you fill out these financial aid forms, and you do everything, and you wait to hear back. Some parents like to hear that. Some parents, they don't like to hear that. They want their kid to get a full ride. And I said, that's not what I'm in it for. I mean, I want to give you a full ride, but honestly, that's not how it works.
So listen, I wanted to ask you this because I'm super curious. For me, the best things, it was never about the Scott Winstons, the Ken Carneys, the Sean Burnses. Those guys were hammers, right? And half my team when I was at Jackson would train at Sure Thing. The other half would train at Elite. It was awesome. They would do a lot. And plus our room was great. We wrestled all year round. But for me, the best thing was taking a kid who never really wrestled before. And I don't know if you get a lot of those at CBA, but what's it like trying to train those guys? And was it hard for you? You know, you just come from Rutgers where you're training with Anthony and the rest of the guys for years. And then all of a sudden now you're even when you're our DOP, you're watching these guys train. and then you go and you got to take a kid out of the hallway and say, okay, let's learn a single leg. Is that hard? I love that. I just make a kid tough for 6 minutes. There's a good chance you're going to win high school matches. I just love that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a kid. There was a kid my first year going in, so 2 years ago. He was a senior, and he was just there to kind of hang out and worked his butt off. It came down to we had like our last match before sectionals was in February, and I was like, man, you got to wrestle 152 varsity. We don't have anybody. You're gonna get on a bus and travel 152. The kid's a senior. He's like, Coach, I don't want to wrestle varsity. I don't want to wrestle varsity. But this kid worked so hard all year. And I got him better, maybe teaching him like a stand-up or like something basic. And I was excited to watch this kid and be like, you're going to wrestle varsity. So I got kids coming in that honestly that start wrestling junior and senior year at CBA just because they try other different sports. And kid that comes to CBA has to do with sports. So I do get those kids building up, but I haven't really had that kid that built him up from a freshman to a sophomore and finally got him to wrestle varsity yet. That could happen.
Are those guys
year,
sticking with it though? Those guys who don't
yet.
know what the heck's going on? Are they sticking with it? Cool.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. These guys, they love it.
Yeah, it's cool to see, Goody. Like I'm thinking about some of the practice I went to. There's some of the kids on the team that just like they're like the JV, maybe some of the JV kids. They just like look up to some of the kids even on the varsity team. Like they become like even better teammates. They're like when it became time like for districts and regions, I feel like some of them were still coming to practice like, all right, what do you need, Tyler Barrett? Like, what do you need, Julian George?
Yeah.
Like, whatever you need, Coach Ashnault. Like he's already got guys buying in like that, which is great because then the new freshmen come in, they see that system and they look up to that and they kind of just fall right in line. And it's like a never-ending cycle.
So what I would do, Billy, and I'm sure you'll do this or you probably already do it. I would, back when we had those really good teams, 1 day a week for the first 20 minutes of a practice, we would drill, right? We would start our practice, and the drill would be, for example, Scott Winston with a freshman who just came out for the team, or a sophomore who was on the JV team, and they would work out, and that went on throughout the whole lineup. So they're actually training with those guys. Can you imagine that? That was pretty cool. And then next thing you know, Winston's coaching these dudes in JV tournaments and JV matches, and those dudes loved it. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I love that stuff, man. Like going into this year 3, it's like that's what you're building up for, man. These kids that are going to be sophomores, going to be juniors, that have been with you for 1-2 years.
Yeah,
and that's when it gets.
Now you got
exciting.
some even more exciting stuff happening in your life. You got a newborn son. I got a new nephew, Micah William Ashnault. So now, how old is he now? Is he a month old yet?
Yeah, he's going on 6 weeks and maybe
Dude's
a day
getting
or
old
two
already.
now. It's crazy. Yeah.
How's father life treating you?
crazy,
How was
man.
your first Father's Day?
It was all good. I mean, the sleeping wise and the baby sleeping, he's doing pretty good. Me and my wife, man, we have a pretty solid system going on where she takes him and I take him once the early morning hits, like 4 or 5 a.m. I take him and that's it. He's either sleeping or he's up. We go for a walk and then kind of go through our day. But
Yeah.
still
Is he sleeping a lot? Is he sleeping a lot, or you have to get up?
First Father's Day.
Jess gets up.
Yeah. No, he's been like 4 or 5
Pretty
hour
good.
stretches recently. So that's pretty good. Yeah. Father's Day, she's like, what do you want to do? I said, honestly, I want to play golf or do nothing. And I didn't play golf. So we just kind of walked around Belmar. We went to Pier 9 over here and enjoyed the day. It was a beautiful day. So that was cool going out as a family, man. New kid and going out to eat.
Just you being on here sparked so much interest. Mike DiPiano's chiming in. This is our guest today. We get a second.
I see.
They all want to talk about single duel, the quads, the tries. I love it. It's an ongoing discussion with New Jersey high school wrestling coaches.
Yeah, I gotta appreciate Dip though. He's coming to the Colt Classic this year, and he's hosting a quad, maybe 16 dual meet where you get 2-3 matches going out there. So I know Dip knows who I want to wrestle when I go there. I'm hoping he hears this and he puts me against that team. I mean, that shore conference team he's going to have there.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on, dude. I'm so disappointed you're not in this Friday's match. I thought Diamond had a little bit more pull at the Pine Barrens.
Yes.
Like you train his kid for 2 years and can't even get you in a match. But,
Nah, I'll be back, man. I know I saw you good. I saw you
You
3
look
weeks
like
ago, 2
crap.
weeks
You look
ago.
very
said I look
skinny
like
and
crap,
pale.
so I
Yeah.
gotta really get better.
Billy, he
I gotta
calls me. He calls me. He's like, your brother has a newborn kid. He looks like he hasn't slept. Looks like his eyes are bloodshot. He shoots a 90. He shoots a 90.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm dangerous. It's the
Stay in
low
the high
high
80s.
right
So
now. Stay in the high 80s. I'll be dangerous at the
Barron's killer.
Barons.
Listen, make sure you
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All
Make sure
right,
you get
guys,
the camp
man, have a good
schedule out
day.
when we're ready to go. We're ready to get over to CBA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
Of course, man. I'll see you guys.
Clearly,
Yeah, thanks.
the
Later.
rising star, right? High school wrestling coaches. That program is going to blow up,
Yeah.
and I always hear that. I always hear this guy's he's going to steal our guys. He's providing a service. He's coaching. It's the rules. He's at CBA. It's a private parochial school. It's the same way they were upset with Coach Bell and Bergen and now Del Barton. It is what it is. It is what it is. Get your program better enough where you can wrestle those guys, and that's just the way I feel about it. Yeah. If you're doing your job, and this may ruffle some feathers, if you're doing your job at your public school and you have a great program going, and you're putting in time and training and giving your life to your athletes, they won't leave you. They won't leave you. So that's the way I look at it. Get better and be able to compete with them.
Yeah, and private school isn't for everybody, and it is for some people. So I think it works itself out. And I mean, I'm definitely biased. It's my brother. It's blood, and we're best friends as well. So it's like I'm very biased, but he does a great job, man. He doesn't even though he's just he's saying what he's supposed to say. That's how he actually is. He doesn't. He just does his bit, goes about his business. He does a great job, goes day by day. He's not calling kids on their phone and trying to recruit sixth graders and telling them not to go to their public school. He's never ever done that, and that's never been his style. So I can't see that. But people will always talk, and the better you get, the more support you get. In the same way you get the support is probably the same way you get the hate on the forums, and in the opposite directions by the people that maybe oppose you or your haters.
Yeah. And listen, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to go there. It's not you just pick up and jump on a bus and head up there. It is a commitment. It's a lifestyle from an academic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, from a social standpoint. So kids want to do it, but again, it goes back to do your job in your area, get your guys training, get them involved, and they won't leave you. So it's hard to leave you.
How cool of an opportunity is it for you? You see all your Rutgers athletes, man, they're just taking over. As a head coach, came from a high school setting head coach, all your athletes going back and they're taking over the New Jersey wrestling scene. If you go to Atlantic City and just watch the corner in and out of who's in the corners, it's sometimes it feels like 20 to 30 Rutgers wrestlers in the last 10 years. I'm like, dang, I didn't even realize this many guys on our team liked wrestling. I thought they were going to graduate and throw the shoes out in the garbage can, never put them back on.
No, it makes me feel there's two ways I feel about it, especially in Atlantic City. So much pride, so proud that because I knew they'd all end up in coaching, right? I knew when you love it, when you put your life into it like college athletes do, you want to give back. You want to get back into it, and it's a great way to continue to compete as a coach. So there's so many guys now I've coached that are continuing to give back. So that's pride. But then I think about when you get caught up with these guys on a Friday night and there's 20 of them, man, down in AC, I'm like, oh boy, this could be a long night. But so many memories and so much fun, and just a lot of pride watching these dudes not only coach big matches, but coach against each other. That's pretty cool for me to watch. Seidenberg and Vizicaro against each other, Billy and Joey Langle. Yeah. There's so many more. Trevor Meldy's had guys in the state finals in his corner, Connor O'Neill. So there's so many more. Of course, my best guy I'm most proud of is probably Dougwood Stanley at Jackson. Yeah. So it's just a lot of pride, and it's just a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun to see it. And then just jabbing them, just talking smack with them, being like, how do you let that one get away? How do you allow the ref? If you tell Anthony Perotti, the ref just dictated that match and you could say nothing about it. It's like, oh, it's fireworks. It's fireworks. It's great. So I just like that whole thing. So it's all cool.
I love to see some of the guys that maybe didn't reach their athletic potential, or maybe left some things on the shelf, made many wrong decisions, and it didn't translate to their athletic success. And then I like to see those guys that are really into it, because you kind of see it. You're like, dang, like, all right, like I respect that. Like, you're giving it back, you know. Sometimes you need to fill that void too. And it's just cool to see some of the passion that these guys are putting into it. And and I know some of them are my friends, man. I just respect it. And going through the scene, you know, it's cool to see. It's cool to see all the faces and all the energy they're putting into the kids.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody thinks to be a great coach, you got to be a great wrestler, man. That's not, or you've had to have this amazing career. So I don't think I had an amazing career. I look at like Nick Octaviano, right? He struggled with weight. He would win a wrestle off every year. Never really wrestled for us, and he's done such a good job at Colts Neck. Like that's awesome. And I knew he'd be good. You could just tell guys who were into this. So it's just good to see stories like that.
Yeah.
We do have a question here, Coach Goodell. How's Glasgow's status? Will he be healthy enough to compete this season? Seems he's been hurt since his arrival with so much potential. Yeah, Steph is out in California with Aguilar. He's training every day. From a health standpoint, he's been fine. I know he was banged up his freshman year. He got scoped. Maybe we probably brought him back a little bit too early, but he was fine soon after that. He's fine and healthy health-wise. It's more of an academic issue now. He's got to get it together academically, and he'll be able to wrestle. But that's totally up to him at this point. But he's training out in California. Obviously, you can do all your academics now remotely, so he's doing that. And as far as we know, all is good, and hopefully he's back. But he's got to do some things first to get back, but it's nothing to do with injuries.
Yeah, and I hope Steph's listening, man, because we got some competition at his weights, man. I've been training with these guys. They're training, so if you're listening, Steph, and you want to be back, bro, you better be training, because I know you're talented, but these guys are coming. These guys are hungry. I'm thinking about guys like Rob Kennard, Brett Donner, man. They're training every day. They're hungry, and I would love to have Steph back and be on the roster, because then it's like we got fireworks at 33, 41, 49, 57, 65. And even if whoever starts and whoever doesn't is the backup, those guys are going to be on each other's heels all season. And it's just going to be a great atmosphere. So hopefully he's back, and he's at his best when he is back, hopefully.
Yeah. I heard, there's a lot of these rumors. You and I have a show. We bring Sammy on, and then next thing you know, I'm getting all these texts. Oh, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. And they're just getting it from forums, the craziest things ever. But Sammy is a 133 pounder. Everybody thinks he's gotten so big because of the show. He's supposed to get big. He had to build his body a little bit to get bigger and stronger, and that's kind of where he's supposed to be. But he's a 133 pounder, and depending on what happens there, he wrestles or he redshirts. So we'll figure that out when the time comes.
Yeah, he needed to get stronger, and like sometimes to put on like a little bit of muscle, you gotta get a little bigger first. It's not all great weight that he put on, I'm sure. So he needed to get stronger for sure. Just feeling him for a 133 pounder for his size, he should be a little bit stronger.
I got a question here. Is Coach concerned about the sudden spike in positive COVID tests at the big football programs? If Clemson, et cetera, have to shut down football and the major conferences follow suit, what's chance there's a trickle down with the shutdown? I'm assuming he means Coach Shiano. Yeah, Coach and I have talked about that. If all these guys are testing positive, but then they go into their quarantine, and before they get back full practices, maybe they're all clean. I don't know how that works. Is there going to be a trickle down effect from football? I don't know. I don't know if it's is football. Can they play football starting in March? That's something that's on the table. I don't know if there's no football from a high school level and a college level, it has to affect the other sports. It just has to, right? It's common sense. So, I would assume there's a trickle down effect, but I can't speak on that. That's just my opinion on that. But yeah, there's concern when these big time football programs. Here's what I will tell you. We are ahead of the game when it comes to Rutgers and testing. Absolutely ahead of the game and how we're handling our athletes. And if anybody knows Coach Shiano, it's total like laser beam focus on every little, don't leave any stone unturned. And he's locked in on his guys and making sure the safety is first. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good. And we talked a little bit about it before. We don't need to really go much more in depth. There's really like as much news as there is about it all week by week. It's like such little adjustments each week. It's like it just feels like over and over again. It's like we're getting fed the same information almost.
I know. So that's probably been the most frustrating part. People are asking for scheduling. What does our schedule look like? I want to get season tickets. Who's on the? I don't know. There's been no. They're trying to figure out what a football season looks like, and I'm assuming what a basketball season looks like. It's hard, and it's been frustrating for all the coaches. I talked to a lot of the Big Ten coaches, and in my sport anyway, and that's been probably the biggest frustration because so much of where wrestling has gone is about building your brand and building a fan base to make sure you have money and make sure the administration says, oh, we're wrestling in front of 20 people. We should drop this. That's a huge part of what every coach is doing. It ain't about just the X's and the O's and training. There's so much more to it. So we want to get our schedule out because we want to get season tickets out. We want to wrestle in front of 7,000 every night at the rack.
Yeah.
And that's how we look at it, and that's how a lot of other coaches are now looking.
Yeah, we need to promote these matches, get our team excited about them even. A lot of different things. I'm going to move backwards a little bit right now. I'm just daydreaming, thinking about my brother said the kid Alex Nini, and I knew him since he's been a kid. He's one of the 8th graders going to CBA next year, wrestling for them. But I'm just thinking about when this kid, he's already probably 120 pounds right now, and he's starting to be a real wrestler, like a man a little bit, and it's starting to get tough to roll with him. Like, I'm thinking, you probably dealt with it a bunch of times. What's it like when that athlete is growing up, and now all of a sudden he's 150 pounds, he's a man, and he's like, you got to turn it up, you got to turn it on to wrestle him. It's like, how do you make that transition from you're beating him up, now you're all of a sudden all right, we're gonna work on.
Well, that's happened to me. That's a great question. It didn't happen to me so much when I was at Jackson. I mean, obviously Carney and Winston got to be really tough for me later on, but it started happening maybe 5 years ago in college, man. Those guys, even with Rinaldi, remember Dan Rinaldi?
Yeah.
He just was so big. He was a horse, man. He was hard to wrestle. It was hard to wrestle that pace. So, but you could always find ways to drill and work out. I make sure I'd stay in shape so I can wrestle and at least drill and spar with these guys, and but yeah, you could tell guys are jumping levels, and I could only imagine Nini's, you're going to have to start to really scrap with them. And here's the worst part. When you're the coach and you're the guy training the guy, they always want to beat you. They always want the best effort with you. It's oh man, this guy's a pain in the ass. He's working so darn hard. Chill out. I'm 48 years old, but I feel that with Janzer all the time. Janzer comes at me harder, and I'm like, Jesus, man, I get it. You're ready to go. I'm just trying to get a workout in.
You love it, but you're like, all right.
Yeah. And for me, it was a mental thing, right? You'll see. You have to before you can't just show up in practice and start warming up, and one of the really good guys says, "I got you today." I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. I gotta gear myself up. All right, I'm wrestling today. Especially as I get older, I got to make sure I can. And here's the worst part: you can't stop.
Yeah.
It's not like I could be a guy. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard mentally.
It's something I was daydreaming about. I'm like, I'm not looking forward to those times. Maybe when he's a junior, senior, and I'm still wrestling, but I'm not trying to wrestle like that every day. I just could imagine it's gonna be tough, but I look forward to it. It's also exciting that some of the athletes that you get to work with jump levels like that, and even some of them are just growing and their levels already very high. But just to see them staying with the sport and you're see potential, you're okay, man, dude, if you're like this with me, man, you should beat anybody at your weight at 120 pounds right now in the whole world. Let's go. So you get excited, they get excited. So it also builds that bond when they're closing the gap, they're chasing you, they're coming back for practice. They're I almost got that takedown last week. And I remember going through it all right, Donnie beat me up, but I got to his leg that one time. Next week, maybe I'll get that leg in the air. It's little wins.
So the biggest thing for someone like that who's been so successful coming in, and we never really had this issue with you. You were really good about it, but even Winston never lost a high school match, and then he came in. And someone like Nini, the biggest thing is going to be listen, you're going to lose. It was always our job to put great competition in front of them. You're going to lose, and how do you respond from that loss? That was always kind of a big thing for us, is making sure. Listen, I remember Scotty lost at Brockport, and that's his first loss. He's never lost. I've never seen him lose, and then he bounced back. Conci semis, 1-2 more in a row, ended up beating that kid again for third. So that was a great bounce back. So you're going to lose, and losses can be good. You get better from it. So how does an 8th grader coming in, a stud 8th grader, how does he react to a loss? I always thought that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. And I'm telling you, he has the potential to not lose. He's that good. But everybody has their day, whether it's in the off season in freestyle or it's in the season in folk style or off season folk style major national tournament. He'll lose down the line. And I think the biggest thing for those guys is getting in practice rooms where they can be pushed and they're not just getting to pick their targets and running through practice partners every day. They're getting pushed and they're finding the guys that are going to push them or coaches that are going to push them. And he's definitely doing that.
Good. Yeah. We have a guy backstage. Before we get to him, Coach, what kind of an impact do you think not having fans at the rack would have on next season? Wow, that's a major impact. I haven't gone that far down yet. I haven't thought that way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we need 7,000 there, but now that you think about it, that's holy heck. I haven't really thought about that.
Hey, Pat.
Oh, Pat, what's up?
What's going on?
Let's go. We're live in the wrestling room.
Yeah. Malka Studios.
Absolutely. From the bunker to the room, we're bringing it all together, boys.
Yeah.
We've never seen
Listen, man,
in the wrestling room. Stretch me out.
Yeah. We appreciate you giving us this platform. This has been really keeping us sane. This has been really, really good for Anthony and myself, and Malka Sports has been awesome for us. And we appreciate you, man. Thank you for doing this and allowing us to do this. You could easily shut us down, but for 12 weeks, we've been feel like it's been successful. I don't know where, how you feel about it, but it's been great.
Man, I please, we're grateful to work, with you guys. Right. And so I think, when everything goes down with, COVID, our goal is, Kevin, Malist and I were talking about what are the opportunities we could, do to help you guys moving forward. And I think, we work with the McCoy twins and we started doing their podcast during, we do their podcast double coverage just during the season, the NFL season. And then once COVID hit, there was no sports, everything got canceled. The guys had, a lot more free time themselves. And then, they just kind of wanted to find a way to communicate with their fans. And so we partnered up with Fan Cred to do every Sunday night double coverage live where Patriots fans could come on, and it just kind of gave some escapism, right? And the reality is this is the same exact thing that you guys are giving to the wrestling community. You're giving that escapism during a difficult time for an hour just to talk about things that, might seem trivial, with the health crisis going on, but they're so important to, finding joy in people's lives. And you guys are absolutely the best, man. I mean, no joke. I haven't missed an episode, since you went on. And, there's so many people that I talk to that weren't maybe huge wrestling fans or locked into everything, but they have such a good time listening because the banter and the perspectives that you both have is awesome. So, listen, this is great entertainment for us as well.
Yeah.
You guys are doing all the work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So what Goody? I had to come on here because I know it's the only way I can get in touch with you these days. I talk to Ant all the time. Goody, I know that don't get any cell service on the green, so I figured, let me rattle his cage and get in here.
Listen, you have a question? Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, true story though. As I have to full disclosure, as I'm making fun of you, today is my first round of the year.
God, that's sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I got at least 110 swings in my bag.
Here's what I'll tell you about this show, because obviously Anthony and I have a great relationship, but it's gotten so much closer and deeper because of this show. I learned so much from this guy just about training and how he trains some of the guys he's coaching and his mindset for big matches. So here's why you don't get in touch with me. When I go on a golf course, I shut it down because I'm locked in. I'm trying to win matches. So I've learned that from this guy, and I apologize. And listen, for the record, 6 days a week I'm on the course. What else am I going to do?
What are you shooting right now? Have you improved?
I don't want to. I'm a 5.7 this morning, and I'm trying to get it up because I got a big tournament coming up.
All right.
If I can get that up a little bit and get some more strokes,
I might be 5 over on the first hole. So
that's golf.
That's
golf. You'll be all right. Just keep practicing.
Yeah,
I love it. No,
the family's good. Everything's good.
Everything's great, man. As I say, I have my health and employment, so we're blessed in that regard, right? There's our industry, the business of sports, is, not unlike a lot, right? You're challenged by what is happening, with the current health crisis. But the reality is there's a lot of people that didn't have a chance, when it came to this and running their own business. And they were in industries that were far more affected. And so I'm super grateful, for everything that we have going on, the clients that we have, some of the adjustments that we've been able to make. And so, I mean, in some ways we're, even growing, the business during this time, right? We're finding other areas to win. And as someone who's, an entrepreneur, anyone will always tell you, creativity and work ethic will always win. Those are two ingredients that are super important. And again, if you are working in an industry that isn't completely decimated, like, food or entertainment, where, musicians and all the different industries that are just totally shut down, barbershops, et cetera, that were, didn't even have a chance. If you are in an industry where you have a chance, creativity and work ethic will help find its way. And this is a perfect example, right? 12 weeks ago, the wrestling room didn't even exist. And the idea now that you're both out there being able to communicate with your fans, develop that, relationship even further, push, the Rutgers brand and everything that you guys have going on, and great platform for you and everything, that you're doing and your upcoming match with Flo. It's just, you got to get creative and, find new opportunities, where they didn't previously exist. So we're doing great, man. Having, a ton of fun, getting to spend extra time with kids. My kids are 10, 8, and 6. And so they're incredible ages. And it's just, I lose that 45-minute hour commute each way to the office. I miss the office and all the employees and stuff like that. But, I wouldn't trade it for more time with the kids,
That's awesome. Yeah. And how are they doing? They're probably out of school now, right? Probably even more free time for them.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter's 10. She's already thinks I'm an idiot,
I think that's just a girl thing. I think my sister was just at that age, like, just a little bratty.
Yeah. She's or maybe she's just right, maybe she does just know more than us. But yeah, they're doing good, man. It's my daughter just turned 6. We had 2 birthdays during COVID, so just like you, Ant, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, man. That was a great, cool edit that Malka put out, and I appreciate you posting them too. Thank you.
No worries. We got a talented squad, man. It's our team is deep with designers, editors, and animators. I know, Goody, you were psyched about the wrestling video that Julian Pinnock-Odrick voiced over and wrote as well. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
You should post that again for our fans if you get a chance.
Yeah.
Before you kick off here, before you get going here, give us we'll give Capra the same question we give all of our guests. They're on an island. You're allowed to bring 3 people. Who you bringing to the island? And you don't say your wife. You can automatically bring her.
Of course, I know how the game is played.
You know how the game works, right?
Wow. Wow, that's a bad job out of me. I certainly should have been, more prepared. You know what it is? I was just so excited to come on air. You kind of lose time of sense and space, and
like
here I am.
It's like my dad.
Yeah. Hold on, let me take a sip of coffee, get an idea here.
Now, we've had a bunch of different answers on this, Ant. We've had entertainers, right? We've had movies. We've had a lot of different. We've had coaches,
comedians,
famous athletes, comedians. Yeah, so you can go in a lot of, and then we've had family members like
my dad.
Like Durkin went when he loved to spend another day with his dad. That was pretty cool. So
there's
no wrong answer.
This question, by the way.
Who you bringing to the island? You're stuck on an island, let's say 6 months.
No. Did you ever answer the question?
I did. On the first day. I think I went Bobby Bowden, Don Mattingly. And I know I got a lot of heat for not bringing my wife, but at that time
But then we made the rule. Then you made the rule after that you don't have to bring your wife.
Yeah.
She's already there.
But it was definitely Bowden and Mattingly. I know it was Bowden because
your kids and wife are there.
All right, the kids and wife are there, clearly. All right, number one was an easy one. That's Bruce Springsteen. Gotta have Bruce on the island. I would take Dave Chappelle.
Nice.
Springsteen, Chappelle, and What do I need here? What am I missing? Do I
It's
just?
up to you, man. You got music. You got a comedian.
I mean, I'm covered right now. Sports. You know, you already took Donnie baseball, so he's off the market.
You could steal him too. You could steal him.
Bring him back, man. I don't know if he want to go back.
He's gonna have to go 12 months straight.
You know what? If I'm on an island, I'm gonna have a blast with Charles Oakley. Let's get Oak out there.
That's a good one.
So, I mean, I don't know where I just came up with Oakley, Chappelle, and
On the spot.
That's cool. That's good, man.
I was trying to think back, you know, like favorite athletes growing up. I was a big, Ewing guy. I just think Oakley would be more fun, you know, and that would probably be my play. Are you a Springsteen guy at all, Goody?
I do like Bruce a lot. I wouldn't say I'm a big Chesney guy. I think that might have been my third, but Bruce is a Jersey Shore guy. I love Bruce. I've been to a bunch of shows. The only thing and this is nitpicking, right? When you go to one of his shows and he plays one album, like if you don't like that album, of course you're going to love the great ones that end the show. But if you don't like that one album, it could be kind of brutal. So that would be.
I just think he's been doing it so long. He's got to change it up. He's like, I don't know what's going to be different this time. We'll just do a whole album.
Dude, how about his energy though? At 70, have you ever been to a Bruce show, Ant?
No.
Oh man, his energy, and I guess he's 71 now.
Yes,
it's pretty special. It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
He's remarkable. It's humbling. Like, you know, as I walk out of the concert, like exhausted, walking out like from just cheering, and dudes up there doing slides left and right, going crazy. But no, you got me into Chesney a little bit now. So I've been doing this Couch to 5K app, which is humbling to even mention to the two of you guys watching your workouts and everything that you're doing. But just want to put my cards on the table.
Yeah.
And so when I'm listening to music, Chesney is one of the guys I'll throw on there. Just good, upbeat, keeps you going.
Right.
He's got a couple balls in there. He misses the zone every once in a while. You know, like when you're working, like, this isn't the right song.
Yeah, he does slow it down.
Yeah. You know, like he's in a tree with Willie Nelson. You know, like I'm not here trying to run. You know, trying to get motivated. That's when I slide back and put the wrestling room on. You know, listening to him talking about his grind.
Yeah. I was thinking about what you said about the work ethic and creativity, man. Just in wrestling for sure, just outworking in high school level and kid level, you just outworking your competition and being creative about what kind of moves and patterns you're putting together. That'll win versus most of the guys. When you get to college and the higher level you get to, I feel like it's how hard are you willing to work and push your body? How far back are you willing to push that wall? And then once you break that wall a couple times and you're successful, or you break the wall and you're not successful and realize what you got to change, that's when the creativity comes maybe. And I broke through the wall, but I'm not creative enough. Now I got to be a little bit more creative and break through the wall again and see if I win this time. And I love that, putting those two together. And in sport and life, man, that goes a long way.
No, you're so spot on. And, you know, you were just, talking about those lessons too earlier, and how good you're saying the conversations you guys have had. In all seriousness, I really do get a lot out of listening to the two of you talk and the stories. Because there was a story you told a few weeks ago, Ant, when you were down at a camp and a coach was being really, really hard on a kid. And, then he left and he came back and he had like a softer tone that second time, hearing those type of things and trying to, thinking about how you were playing the good cop in that scenario where you were trying to tell the kid, hey, it's going to be okay. And then to hear Goody, your transformation from coaching over the years and hearing, it from your angle, it's just really fascinating, right? To hear that transformation. As you're still an active wrestler, Ant, right? You're still going for, the Olympics, but so much of what you do is often teaching other kids, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's clinics and different things like that. So you kind of get to wear both hats. So it's been cool. I was curious, Goody, Ant was talking about all the other former wrestling coaches that have, or guys that are coaching that are former Rutgers guys. Why did you get into coaching, and what is it that fulfills you? And has that changed from the beginning where maybe it was a job to now being able to see these young men, become adults?
Well, if you ask me that like today, not why I got into it, but today, why do you keep doing it? Why I want to serve, I want to give back. I want to help young guys develop and become great fathers and great husbands. So that would be my answer now. When I was younger, why did I get into it? I didn't have a choice. I knew what I was going to do, and I tell this story all the time. I knew what I was going to do at an early age, right? My grandfather coached 35 years in Far Rockaway. My dad coached every single sport in our town. My mom was an athletic director at the middle school. My sister's a basketball coach. So I was fortunate. I knew I'd go away, get my teaching degree, come back, and that's all I wanted to do was coach. So I kind of knew at an early age I wanted to compete. I wanted to win championships. That's basically was my mindset when I was 22, 23, 24 years old. That's what I wanted to do. So I kind of knew at an early age. It was in my blood. It was everything growing up was coaching and or being around coaches. So that's kind of why I got into it. If you ask me that now, it's about serving and giving these guys a platform to perform and just giving them life lessons that they're going to learn going forward. And it's gratifying, man. It's there's a lot that goes into it. So it's pretty cool.
Nah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about that, especially having Billy on,
Yeah. And I always thought, and it's funny too, because I would speak with our phys ed teachers when I was a physical educator, and they'd be like, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get tired. I would do 3 sports. I'm like, no way. I love this. And sure enough, I hit their age around 45. I told the story last week, man. It was hard. The last 2 years were hard. And then you think you get 2 national champs, it's going to get easier. It gets hard. So it goes back to what you said. You got to have creativity. You got to start rethinking here a little bit. There's got to be change. And probably wasn't up until February of this year where I started really, really finding the passion again and loving being around people and loving being around our fans. So it came and got, it went in a bunch of different ways, which I'm sure that's hard for people to understand, but I never thought I'd get burnt. I never thought. I'm just like, let's go. And heck, man, it's definitely hard. But that's coaching. So I look at Billy and I think the same thing. He started where I started. He's going to go through. He's going to be around this for the next 25 years. Is he going to have the same passion that he does today to get in a room with the CBA guys? Is he going to have that same passion 25 years down the line? So it's interesting, but it's a fine balance for sure.
No, it's interesting too. We talk about like that creativity and trying to think different. Like I love the ability to come up with an idea, implement it, and run with it, right? As opposed to, that's why I always was drawn to entrepreneurship. The fact that like I think we can do things better. The system isn't perfect. We can get creative. We can think of better ways to do it. And there's a really good line. I think it's John Spolstra, Eric Spolstra's dad, who wrote a book called Marketing Outrageously. He talks about how if you imitate your competitors, or you imitate your industry leaders, you're only strengthening them, right? So like think about how you built Rutgers, right? If you built Rutgers in the exact model of what everyone else was doing, right, you're only strengthening them. So for us as an agency, when we start out, if we try and think, let's replicate what that big agency is doing, they've already got too big of a head start in money and resources and everything. So we have to think differently.
Sure.
And what I always just admire about, Ant, everything that you've accomplished and everything that, you built Goody is the idea that you did it in a place where it hadn't been done before. And there's got to be something incredibly satisfying. I look at the smile on your face when you're holding that national championship trophy in the promo video, Ant, like, it's just like, it says so much, in just like one little look. It's just such a cool accomplishment, what you guys have done, something like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just still so surreal in my life. It's so surreal that it's come full circle already, even though like we're still going through it. It's like we're on the second chapter now. It's like we completed the mission, and now it's like, all right, like what's the next goal? Like let's get into a team trophy. Let's go get more. Like of course everyone always wants more, so it's like let's go get more. What's the next steps? Let's put these stones in a line so we could go down the right path again.
Absolutely. Fellas, listen, I will let you run. I've already overextended my time.
Good, man.
This
Perfect.
is your platform, baby. This is your show.
I got to get out of here before Goody gives me the hook.
Yeah.
look, I'm so glad that Kevin, brought you guys into my life. I get so much professional and personal enjoyment out of working with both you guys, and this has been awesome. And I will be talking to you, I'm sure. Well, and I'm sure I'll talk to you, Goody. Maybe one day when you're off the course, we'll reconnect. But wish me luck today, boys.
Yeah, man. Try to stay under
Good
100.
luck, man.
Stay under 100.
Under 100.
Stay under 100. Stay under 100. If you don't, just tell people you're under 100.
That's what I've been doing my whole life.
And, you're the man, buddy. We'll see you. Thanks, Pat. All right, it was great, man, dude. It's so good to have him on. He's been really, really good to both of us.
Yeah, he has been. And Malka in general has been too. I guess we could start to wrap things up here. But
any last thoughts?
Anything? I'm excited for from hearing Billy and then hearing Pat. It's getting me excited again about Rutgers wrestling, man. I feel like we just kind of put Rutgers wrestling on pause during quarantine, kind of take a break from it was after the season, take a break, and now it's like things are starting to come back together. It's like, all right, like let's put the roster together. Let's start to speculate a little bit. Hopefully they clear up things and give us a schedule and stuff like that. But I'm excited. I want to see the guys compete again, and I want to see Rutgers wrestling rise. It's an exciting time.
No doubt. Let's have these fans direct message us, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and give us some ideas. Do you want guests? Do you want to keep doing this? Do you want call-ins?
Yeah.
Those were great. I mean, I knew Billy this morning was coming on, so that was cool. But Pat coming on is a huge surprise. I know there are a couple other coaches that are texting me would like to come on, so let's figure that out. And again, if there's a certain guest they want, we'll work our tail off to try to get them on here. And but I kind of like this. We go in a lot of different directions, answer a lot of questions. Cannot believe we went an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah. Not
one question about the transfer portal, which I super appreciate. Thank you. Because there's nothing I can really talk about.
Yeah.
So it's been good, man. It's been good. We're excited for your match. Let's just keep training. We're going to get together. I think we're going to get the okay, at least to be off-campus grounds in some of these clubs, so we can start putting some things together a little bit more organized,
Yeah, that sounds good. I hope like I've been with some of the guys here and there, but hopefully we could be more consistent with it and get more guys in consistently in different places lifted and wrestling. And it was a pleasure to have Billy on here today, man. Someone I looked up to. He's 6.5 years older than me. Reason why I got into the sport and have so much passion for it, just being able to watch him and his journey. So I appreciate him coming on and sharing that a little bit.
I always thought that guy, Billy, just has such a cool demeanor, man. He just lets things roll off his shoulder, and you would never know. You don't know when he's super happy. You don't know when he's super mad, but he's ultra competitive, and he's ultra. When he was our DOP, all I could say is we got things done. We got things done on the road. We got things done back at home.
Yeah.
We wanted a lot of what happens at the rack now, that atmosphere is because of Billy Ashlow.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. He would run meetings with the marketing. He would run meetings with our administration. He was ahead of the time. And the reason the rack is bumping the way it is because he was a huge part of creating that. So forever grateful for that dude. And he's going to win a state championship. One day he's going to get awarded Boardwalk Hall, #1 team in New Jersey, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's a beast. I'm hoping for the best for the team at CBA and for him and his new family, man. That's got to be surreal. I just think about like him as a college athlete still kind of in my mind.
No.
I see him in a singlet still, and he's got a family, and it's just it's crazy how fast time has gone by. And I'm 25 years old now since yesterday, and just it's crazy. My Mikey said to me, I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20 now, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Well, listen, it's the weekend. Enjoy your birthday. I know you will.
Yeah.
Keep training. We got work to do, so keep training. And awesome show today. We'll be in touch. I'll probably talk to you over the weekend.
Yeah, man. Have a good weekend, and continue to prepare to take it to this guy, Luke Pletcher. Got a good track record versus the Ohio State guys recently.
Yes, we got to stay hot on
that. Yeah.
All right, brother. We'll end on that, and I'll talk to you. All right.
See you later.